The most important thing, I believe, is one of the great truths is that the fact that our world has been continuously abused and used by those that are, quote, made as hybrids of clay and iron. And if we don't understand that, we're not going to understand that the evils of our world are not from the devilish minds of degenerate human beings. The principalities and powers are not human.
Well, I think, and that's where the difference lies between a cursory reading of the New Testament and really having God reveal it. Look, there's two words in Greek for the word, if you will. There's the written word, which is the logos. Then there's the spoken word, or the quickened word, and that's rhema. And the thing is that that's what someone would say, well, it finally clicked, or it finally dawned on me. When God opens your eyes, like the gates of hell, it took me 34 years to figure that out. And by the way, I didn't figure it out. Tom Horn dropped that in an interview one time, and it just hit me all of a sudden. And everything, Dr. Bill, went into place for me, okay? If you want to know, that was the last puzzle piece that I couldn't get my hands around, although I was told literally 5 years ago by a four-star general, the two things, Steve, that gets people killed faster than anything is talking about stargates and talking about alien technology that is in the possession of the different governments.
Well, I'll just give a dialogue of a real story. This is a real story. One of my contacts is one that was there in New Mexico in 1947. He was a cryptographer during the Second World War in the 50s and 60s. He was also one to get rid of or extinguish sleepers in East Germany during the Cold War. And he told me that he had a plasma screen, light optic circuit supercomputer that was a laptop that did not require electricity or batteries in 1963. So he proceeded over many hours to explain exactly this technology. So when I was flying back 5 years ago to New York City from Denver, Colorado, I just happened to be sitting up in first class with one of the senior production engineers for Sony Corporation. I said, well, what's new? And, of course, he opened up and we're jovial. And we said, do you have any new advanced processing technology? So, yeah, we've got this new light optic circuit. Well, I proceeded to tell him in about 15 minutes the and or not circuits using light optic micro lasers that were laminar and that he had and how it was set up. He said, you can't know that? I said, I know where you get it all. I said, I work with these guys. They trickle it down from the NSA, the NRO, and all these lettered agencies, and then license it off to you guys and say, well, that's what you have for the next 4 decades or 2 decades, and then they'll trickle something else to you. They have stuff centuries ahead of what the public believes really exists.
Actually, it's even millennia.
Yeah, I know. I'm just using it. That's what I'm saying, so people can grasp it, but it's millennia. They have technologies that even George Lucas would drool if he knew what was really real, what they really have in technologies. For example, tested the White Sands Missile Base by Raytheon Corporation and by General Dynamics. They have a weapon system called C3. That's the actual code letters for it. It is a plasma weapon. It's like the death ray in the Buck Rogers in the 25th century. It hits an object with a plasma bomb, if you want to call it. It can be shoulder-launched, airplane and satellite. It vaporizes the target at 11 million degrees, and it hits it at the speed of light. They have this now. They have been testing out scalar weapons we call razor wire of the mind. They have, unbelievable things, and they test it on people. In the war zones in Afghanistan and Iraq, they have passed these bombs and systems on to the Israelis to test it on the populations of Gaza, not by chance, but because they want to turn it on us. Right?
Well, absolutely, and I think the thing, let me give you a good example. TR-3s, the triangular-shaped UFOs that everybody's seeing now and actually getting pictures of.
Yeah, of course. That's ours.
Technology. So they can go around the world in an hour. That's one thing. But what people don't understand, the very weapon systems that you're talking about, I mean, even as advanced as they are, there's stuff beyond that. They have skunk works and some of the bigger, if you will, the secret manufacturers of the stuff, the stuff that we're talking, alien reverse technology.
Right.
He let it slip that he said if the American people ever knew that we've gone beyond the stars, they'd sure be mad at a whole lot of politicians.
Well,
by the way, I was with an individual the other night. This is the funniest story. And he started quoting off the names of some of the projects that guy I'm just talking about, I forget his name, it's irrelevant right now, a guy just retired. But the bottom line is he said, this guy got hammered. I think he was the head of Lockheed, and basically just spouted off, Dr. Bill, all the different names for all the different projects. And everybody that was sitting around the table, the you're a good guy, sorry to see you leave type banquet, basically they got all blue. And the guy was just saying, hell, they all know it anyway. Well, the interesting thing is that's what you look for is those, quote, breaches. And when I say breach, the stuff that's out there, like I'm saying, every time people think the Aurora is already outdated technology.
It is. In fact, my contact was a Canadian one 2 years ago after listening to the shows, and one of my many contacts, and I corroborated this. And he told me that he was a senior repair technician, engineer of their fleet that flies out of the Black Forest in central Germany underground. So they have an underground place where they actually fly right out of the forest. And he said they're going to take it out of service in 2010 because they've had sublight and above light vehicles for decades. People need to understand that there's no reason for any technical reason when they talk, well, we need alternative energy, we need this, we need that. They're liars to the nth level. There's no problem. They know how to change and improve the crops without pesticides. There's no reason for us to have shortage of food or energy or technology. They allow electropollution because it's part of dumbing down and turning the population into drones. I mean, the evil is of a level where people, if they knew the full extent, they'd fall down on their face and they'd cry out to the Most High God and they'd say, God, you must come back now in the flesh and you must come into our hearts and empower us with the power of Moses and Aaron and speak against this evil because we are about to be consumed. Mankind, with this election of Obama, not only pro-abortion but pro-infanticide. He says he's going to reverse the Mexico policy for abortion. His plan to expand wars and uninvited invasion of Waziristan and Pakistan, they don't care. They're searching right now with the Israelis to have a base to attack Iran and Russia. How crazy is that?
Well, not only is it crazy, it's truly obscene, and this is something I think people need to understand. The fallen angels have communicated with men through occult symbols and imagery.
Right.
When you get into a Proto-Hebrew or basically Enochian, what's called the language of Enoch or the script of Enoch, the thing is that if you can pick it up and understand the different messages, whether it's numbers, whether it's symbols, whether it's juxtapositions, these are the communications of the supernatural evil communicating the orders to these individuals. By the way, I have been told by active duty, the highest ranking military, they can't cop out by saying, and they don't, that there's anybody higher grade, that the world rulers and leaders get together and sacrifice small children to these entities that I'm talking about, the giants.
Oh, yeah.
And you talked about the blood sacrifice. There was a book called The Sacrament of Abortion, I think, and it said the Christians are so stupid, they don't understand that this isn't about abortion and infanticide. This is a blood sacrifice.
Now, that's what 9/11 was, and I tell people, one of the books that I released 10 years ago with Prophecy Club was, and I was given this supernaturally, is called Abortion to Armageddon, the other book called Clay and Iron. People need to know this is the center point of the evil that is consuming us. Every single person through higher levels, whether it's in the Mormon Church or in Masonism or any form of Luciferianism like the Black Dragon, shoguns of Japan or the satanic Buddhists of High Tibet, they all are involved with the same ritual sacrifice to attach these transdimensional entities, and these things are real. One of the interesting comments you made before the show today, Steve, because you have so much experience and knowledge in the linguistics as well, was the term America and what its real origin is. Not America Vespucci, the map maker and cartographer from Portugal. It has different and more nefarious origins. Tell us about the origin of America.
Well, America, basically, and it's pronounced America, literally means land of the plumed, P-L-U-M-E-D, or feathered serpent. Quetzalcoatl was a giant. He actually is pictured as a giant reptilian. And for those who don't know that, that's the god that the Aztecs worshipped. The Mayans and the Incas worshipped a different god, same guy but a different name, called Viracocha. And what's fascinating to me, America, again, you said it's Americo Vespucci was the guy that was a cartographer, but that's not what it was named after. It had the name America in antiquity, actually 4,000 years ago. And so the thing that's fascinating is one of the standard things you can track, and I don't mean to be gruesome, but the cannibalism that spread throughout the world, even to the South Seas, Dr. Bill, there were reports in World War II of Japanese, and it wasn't the Japanese specifically that were eating the American soldiers and the down flyers. It was the giants in the Guadalcanal region.
Exactly. In fact, my uncle was actually in that war, was over there, and reported that, and a lot of people thought, you're crazy, you just got shell shock from being in war. People need to know this is very, very real.